There are 7 celebrities who perfectly fit a role of the 7 heavenly virtues, and we're going to start with the virtue of chastity. Chastity can be described as the ability to overcome temptation and remain unaffected by worldly desires. It also embodies honesty to yourself, your family, and humanity as a whole, and who else would fit this position better than Liam Neeson? You see, in 2009, Liam's life was perfectly normal, but when his wife Natasha Richardson was out skiing one day, Natasha would take a tumble down a hill in Canada. She wasn't wearing a helmet, but landed directly on her head. Natasha initially stated that she was fine and joked about the fall, but later that night she would mention what happened to Liam, who rushed her to the hospital, to where she would unfortunately pass due to eternal bleeding in the brain that same night. Liam's last words to his wife were, "Sweetie, you're not coming back from this. You've banged your head. I don't know if you can hear me, but this is what's gone down." To which he has since never remarried and doesn't plan to since the incident, and has only grown a stronger and much closer relationship with his 2 sons in the process. However, fast forwarding a few years, and he and his son Michael were the 2 main stars in a film titled Made in Italy, which follows a similar story to what they went through in real life. And one of the most famous quotes from the entire movie being,
"Everyone lets everyone down at some point. How you come back from that, that's romance."
The second heavenly virtue is temperance, and the virtue of temperance states that they have a constant mindfulness of one's surroundings, practicing self-control and moderation, and having the ability to judge and use correct actions to respect others at any given situation. Robin Williams is a perfect demonstration of temperance. Apart from being voted the funniest person of all time, he is widely known for both his kindness and philanthropy towards the world. Most notably being known for playing the genie in Aladdin, there is also a heartwarming story that not many people have heard. A guy is with his family in San Francisco. The man's father has lost both his parents in a really horrific way and was obviously having a rough time on the night of the memorial service. It was about 2:30 AM and the family, mourning and in dress clothes and probably just dragging, went to a donut shop because the man's father wanted a donut. Anyway, Robin Williams just happened to be in the shop too. He's eating and drinking coffee, and when this family needed it, he was kind to them, right there in a donut shop at 2:30 in the morning. He made the man's parents smile on a dark day, and this is what that person remembered most. I couldn't tell you what they laughed about, but I remember seeing my parents laugh and smile for the first time in weeks. My dad just remembered that so fondly. He always said it was exactly what he needed at that time, and that he appreciated the way Robin Williams went about it. It wasn't that he was a celebrity, he was just a nice guy who saw a bunch of sad folks and realized he could probably make a difference, and he did. Which shows that he perfectly knew how to act in that situation. This is just one of many acts like this, like when Robin helped to raise $80 million to homeless people because he felt blessed coming from a wealthy home, so he wanted to do something to help the less fortunate. Or in 2010, donating all the money from his weapons of self-destruction to help rebuild that half of New Zealand that was destroyed by an earthquake. However, sadly only 4 years later, on August 11th, he unfortunately passed away at the age of just 63, where his legacy will continue to live on for the rest of time. The virtue of kindness consists of charity, compassion, and friendship for its own sake. It means doing good towards one and all, and having everyone's best interest at heart without the feelings of regret or dissatisfaction. And there's one person that comes to everybody's mind almost instantly: Adam Sandler. One of his most notably famous moments is when he went out to an IHOP but got turned down by a waitress who failed to realize it was Adam Sandler, which she would later get the video footage to upload to TikTok. But this clip went on to become completely viral all over social media, and fans were just as quick to mention how humble he was. I'm proud of Adam Sandler. He didn't throw his name around just to get seated fast. Fame hasn't changed him. He shouldn't get special treatment, but I love him for not being that kind of famous person at the same time. The same can be said about his on-screen mood in pretty much every movie he has starred in. From Happy Gilmore to both the Grown Ups films, it's no surprise that many actors that have collaborated with him have said that he is one of the nicest and most genuine actors in Hollywood. Whereas Patrick Stewart almost too perfectly fits the virtue of charity, which stands for the willingness to go out of your way to help others, even at the cost of your own self. Because there is practically too many times that he has done exactly that. With 2 Grammys, 25 other award wins, and 60 nominations worldwide, Patrick Stewart is most prominently known for playing Avery in American Dad for 117 episodes. So obviously this has led to thousands of unique and interesting fan interactions. My sister was waiting tables in New York City and ended up serving Patrick Stewart. She didn't want to bother him, so she just did her job, but at the end of the night, she told him how much she had enjoyed seeing him in a production of Hamlet that year, and that she hoped he was planning to do more theatre in the US. My sister was prepared to leave it at that, but apparently he was so thrilled at someone who wanted to talk about his theatre work that he ended up talking to my sister for a while about his experiences on stage. Just a really nice guy who loves acting. And there's also a countless amount of stories about Patrick being an incredible tipper and extremely nice to all the staff that he encounters with. And just having genuinely funny moments, such as presenting awards with James Corden, where they had a friendly argument in front of the whole crowd to see.
When the presenters are up here and when the recipients are receiving their awards, don't stand at the back of the stage with your hands in your pockets, looking around as though you wished you were anywhere but here.
Oh, you couldn't be more wrong, sir. You couldn't be more wrong. Oh, genuinely. And if it looked like that, I'm so sorry. But when you come up and present an award, just get on with it. There we go.
Diligence is the 5th virtue and correlates towards an immensely strong work ethic mixed with the capability of not giving up. Diligence is not allowing any obstacle to get in your way, forcing yourself to complete the goals you set, no matter how hard they may seem. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson best suits this position, but what may surprise you is that he didn't always see life this way. This is the story that changed his entire perception on life and why he is the man he is today. Back in 1999, I saw this couple at a restaurant getting ready to come over. They finally came over, then worked themselves up to come over and ask me for a picture. They were so nice. They said, "I'm so sorry, we're so sorry, can we please have your autograph and a picture?" So sorry. Of course I said yes, but how I said yes was a psychological play because I said yes in a way that made them feel bad. Sure, yeah, absolutely. Come on, sit down. And in that moment, their entire mood had changed. I could tell they felt bad, and I have goosebumps now thinking about it. They said, "We're so sorry, you know what, bad idea," as they began walking off. As they're walking off, they're walking backwards and saying, "We're so sorry." It didn't even take me 30 seconds to realize that I had the opportunity to make someone feel good, and I made them feel bad. And what an asshole that made me. After that, I told myself I would never ever make anyone feel bad again for coming up to me. This is a lifelong lesson that The Rock still follows to this day, which is shown in his everyday life. When 14-year-old Dwayne and his mother got evicted from their tiny flat one night, he said, "I was determined to take control over the situation. I would never be homeless again, and I'll never ever see my mom cry like that again," which can still be shown nowadays with these 7 quotes that can inspire anyone wanting to be like him. Humility might just be the nicest virtue to be a part of, and Post Malone is no exception. Humility is best described as showing extreme selflessness and the giving of respect. It also means being aware of your greatness whilst simultaneously knowing that you don't need to prove your greatness to the world. Post Malone has had what seems like infinite acts of humility, such as stating this towards his dad.
Basically, my whole life is a competition with my dad to see who's cooler. He's still winning, but I'm almost there.
Or asking Jimmy Fallon to say hello to his stepmom over a simple video call.
Jimmy, will you say hi to my stepmom?
Yeah, please. I'd love to. I'd be honored. Yeah.
Come on, Jody.
Mom. Yeah.
This is Jody.
Oh, come on. What are you kidding me? Hi, nice to... Come on. Nice to meet you. Are you having fun out there in Utah?
We love Utah.
Some say that Post Malone, being born on the 4th of July, has seemingly picked his fate from the beginning, which didn't stop there, as in his senior years in high school, he was given the title of most likely to become famous, which turned out to be exactly right. In a concert in Rome back in 2018, a guy arrived at the concert hours before, stayed in the front line with a poster that said, "Let me play stay," to which he would end up playing guitar on stage with Post Malone in front of the entire crowd. And we can't forget when he gave his $5,000 guitar to an 11-year-old fan after another one of his concerts finished.
You need to promise me you're going to take care of it, okay? Okay? All right, you promise. You pinky promise. All right. You pinky promise.
Yes. I make sure to sign it.
Which is why there is so many comments like, he's literally the best example of not judging a book by its cover. He is the most likable person I've ever seen. Never seen a person handle fame like Post Malone. He literally still introduced himself as Austin, knowing damn well the world knows him as Post Malone. And I just do not understand how this man has haters. The same can be said about the virtue of patience. Patience means being able to work towards goals whilst calmly waiting for results without frustration arising or getting angry. And J.K. Rowling seems to fit right into place. J.K. Rowling, which I'll refer to as J.K., is famous for writing the Harry Potter books and is widely considered as one of the world's top authors to this day. However, her life was nowhere near like this at the beginning. J.K. knew she had always wanted to be an author since day one. Her first story was written when she was only 5 years old, and it was about a rabbit called Rabbit. He got the measles and was visited by his friends, including a giant bee called Miss Bee, and ever since Rabbit and Miss Bee, I have wanted to be a writer, though I rarely told anyone so, JK said. Growing up, her teenage years weren't much greater, as her mother would end up passing when she was only 15, which made growing up even harder for her. But she still always had a passion for books and writing. She would even sometimes get library fines for having overdue books because she just couldn't put them down. After working a boring office job and saying, "All I ever liked about working in offices was being able to type up stories on the computer when no one was looking," this is when she knew what she had to do. In 1990, she began planning out the Harry Potter series, but between the planning to publishing stage, she moved to Portugal, got married, and even had a daughter. But once her first novel, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, was published, it only sold 500 copies, making her as little as £2,500. JK never gave up, however, as 2 years later, she managed to get her books into proper print, and by March of that same year, she had already sold 300,000 copies. Fast forwarding 3 years later, and the first Harry Potter movie had generated almost $1 billion, and 6 years later, she's finished her Harry Potter series, selling over 600 million copies, and as of today, at the age of 58, her net worth stands at well over $1 billion.